A pastor married his third wife within a year of his second wife dying, and that third wife's husband is also dead. And they both died under kind of mysterious circumstances. So this is, oh God. All right. So this is John Paul Miller, South Carolina pastor on the left. This is his second wife, Micah. They were estranged when she passed away. Remarried just over a year after his wife unalived herself to the widow of a parishioner who the other parishioner also died of suicide in suspicious circumstances tied to the pastor. So, let's see if we can get it up on here. Miller was filmed tying the knot with Suzie Skinner. That's his third wife, whose husband also died by suicide. Here is the wedding. So beautiful. Look at these two.
Congratulations, guys.
So there they are getting that. Oh, there's Taylor on that. We can't listen to that. So here they are at their little beach wedding. His third marriage. Her second. And both of their spouses happened to die by suicide. So, none of the couple's children were in attendance, held for just a couple of dozen guests. Several armed bodyguards were hired for the ceremony, just a few blocks from where Miller and his late wife got married in 2017. This guy is a sociopath. Okay, and now there are, the feds are stepping up an investigation into Miller, which is the same time as he got married. I don't know if federally you have spousal privilege, which means you don't have to incriminate your spouse. I know that works at like the state level, but I don't know if federally that's also a thing. But you gotta wonder if the ceremony is happening just as the FBI is ramping up their investigation into these deaths that are connected to Miller. Micah Miller's death is tied to an ongoing FBI investigation into John Paul Miller, while the 2021 drowning death of his new bride's late husband, veteran Chris Skinner, remains under investigation by the coroner's office. So both deaths were not just suicides, they were both mysterious. Something was amiss about them. The FBI searched his home in November, although the reason is unclear. Angelina Salas believes her daughter was lured to her death and murdered. So this is Micah's mom. That's so awful. Surveillance footage captured Micah Miller purchasing a gun on the day she died. Jesus. Okay. Micah Miller, an aspiring missionary and worship leader, was found dead of a gunshot wound to the head at the Lumber River State Park in April of last year. Okay, and she bought the gun the same day. I mean, that's a good reason for a waiting period for guns, isn't it? It feels cut and dry, but was she forced to buy the gun? Like, what is the accusation? Let's find out. Miller announced his wife passing to his congregation less than 12 hours after being notified of her death. So this is in April 2024. 48 hours after she had served her husband divorce papers. There it is. There it is. How much do you want to bet Micah bought that gun for protection? How much do you want to bet? Why is it always members of clergy in these crazy stories? Because organized religion fucks people up, and sociopaths are drawn to religion because there's so much opportunity to control people. Yeah, so from what it's sounding like, Micah, who looks exhausted in this, purchased a gun, in my opinion, to protect herself from this guy, this psychopath, who she had just served divorce papers to. We know men hate being told no. They hate being rejected, right? So what do? They don't do what women do when we get rejected, which is cry, talk to our friends, get a new hobby, cut bangs. No, they just kill the person that rejected them. So she died. She dies. 12 hours later, he's like, hey guys, Mike is dead. R.I.P. Discovered dead in a national park. Meanwhile, Chris Skinner, a quadriplegic veteran. They killed a fucking disabled veteran, allegedly. So he died in a swimming pool on Labor Day in 2021. So his wife died last year. 3 years before that, Susie's husband died. Died in a swimming pool? Okay. And his first wife, who, even though they were divorced, still stuck up for him. His first wife said this death came just days after he confronted the pastor, Miller, about an affair he was allegedly having with Suzie Skinner. So they were messing around with each other for years. Just 2 weeks prior to this incident, Susie's husband had confronted JP and asked him. 2 weeks prior, Susie's husband had confronted JP and asked him to leave his wife and children alone. Okay. So JP is Miller, is the minister, whatever the fuck his name is, 9,000%. Listen, cutting bangs, I guess, can change a girl's life. I never have because I have curly hair. I have thought about it. Recently, and my wife's like, I mean, do what you want, which means I'm scared of that. All right, so wow, this is crazy. This poor guy. Oh my God. It's chilling to know that the spouses of both Susie and JP are now dead from tragic events. Yeah. So just days after this guy in his fucking wheelchair was like, yo, bro, leave my wife alone. He ends up dead in a swimming pool. Then 3 years later, J.P. Miller's third wife ends up dead. This is nuts. The coroner's office briefly reopened its investigation into Chris Skinner's death, although they have yet to comment on the reasons why. Oh, we're just not doing periods on sentences in journalism anymore. Miller has denied any involvement in the death of his wife and has previously accused her family of keeping her off her medication. I think what I hate the most about these guys, bro, these nails look so fucking good. I think what I hate most about these guys is the way they malign their completely innocent, wonderful wives after they kill them. To make them sound like the crazy ones. To make them sound like the ones that have, like, severe emotional issues. Or that they cheated, or they ran away, and they abandoned their kids, right? It's always shit like that. Like, how gross are you, bro? Also, what year is it that, like, divorce is the end of the end of the world? Like, get a fucking stronger ego, my man. Everyone gets divorced. Not me and Liz, though. Never, ever, ever. Okay. This is nuts. Look at this fucking dirtbag. He also faces 2 sexual assault lawsuits filed against him by anonymous accusers alleging that he abused them. I bet they were church members. Hope they weren't minors, JP. Miller has denied the charges in both suits and has launched a countersuit for defamation in one of the cases. Of course he did. All right, I want to look up Chris Skinner. I want to see how he died in a pool. Like, were people around? Or did, like, they come home and he was just dead? Paralyzed Army vet took his own life after learning of his wife's affair with controversial pastor. Why would he do that? Why would he bother being like, leave my wife alone and then kill himself? It sounds like he wanted his wife. And it also, I mean, there's like no information on Suzie in this article, really. It's like all about the pastor, but like this lady's got to be involved. All right, let me go back to this. Okay. Found dead in a neighborhood pool. So it was like a community pool where they found him? I bet they were women. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, just don't get married. Like, literally, do not get married. That's a lot for one single innocent man. Exactly. 2 sexual assault allegations and 2 mysterious suicides. Like, maybe one of those things wouldn't be weird, but you're right. All of them together is a lot. Seems like it would be hard to prove it was death by suicide if it wasn't 100% obvious. Right. Because if he was just found dead, cops and coroner office declared the case an accidental drowning and ended their probes. But the coroner's office recently reopened its investigation, which I imagine is related to the recent death of Micah Miller and then their marriage. But like, okay, I don't exactly know how paralyzed this man is, but could he get himself into the pool? I mean, he looks like he has some motion in his hand or hands maybe. But like it's up through here. Like he has to have help sitting up. So would he be able to get himself into the pool? It would be fair to say that the coroner is reopened because there's been evidence that's come forward that it could potentially not be an accident. So this is what Suzie Skinner's sister said. So her sister's like, fuck this guy. She pointed to conflicting descriptions of how Skinner got into the pool from police and coroner reports, despite the fact that both parties viewed the same CCTV footage. So it's on camera, him getting into the pool. Why can't we just see the CCTV footage then? And why would the coroner and cops have a different statement? Did PJ Miller know a bunch of cops or something? Sociopaths do like to all hang out together, that's for sure. Yeah. Probably drove himself into the pool. Oh, yeah. I was thinking like getting out of his chair. But yeah, I guess if he was going to just take his life, he would just... Oh my God, but that's such a horrible death. That's awful. We need to see that CCTV. I don't want to see it, but I want to just know what's on it. Chris Skinner. Let's see if they have like a description of what happens. Surveillance video shows final moments of Chris. Okay, I'm just gonna show you me, and I'm gonna verify what is seen here. He is alone. He appears to be alone. But we also don't know like what kind of harassment was happening to these people. Yeah, I found it, but I don't want to show it. Like, I don't think I can show it on YouTube, but also I don't want to. Okay, so he's at the pool. I'll show you this still, okay? That's him back here, sitting by the pool. Ah! He's rolling himself, and he rolled himself into the pool. There's a dog. Is that a dog? Okay, they zoomed it in. Yeah, there's like a little dog with him. Is that their dog? That's really sad. I mean, it looks like a suicide. I don't know what else that could be. Chris Skinner. I put in Chris Skinner CCTV, and that is what came up pretty quickly. So I don't. He seemed to be there by himself. I don't know. While the coroner wrote that Skinner appeared to have gotten too close to the edge of the pool and slipped in, the police report stated that he had stopped at a curve in the pool before suddenly moving forward and into the water. All right, great. Now I gotta watch it again. It doesn't look like he slipped. I mean, he's sitting there. He's sitting there quietly, still.
Enchant by Candlelight Summer.
Shh. Let me just paint this nail while we wait for this ad to end. Okay. Okay, so... Yeah, I mean, why was the dog with him? Did he, like, take the... Oh, that's just so sad. Okay. Let me see. It looks like he's sitting there... He sits there for a while, like before he moves forward. So, I mean, I kind of agree with what the cops said. Shocking, I know. Has anyone else watched it? What do y'all think? Obviously, trigger warning. It's a guy rolling himself into a pool. Yeah, like it looks pretty clear cut to me. He fucking picks up speed, too. Like, he could have stopped himself. Unless someone messed with his actual chair, but... I don't know. There's nobody else around that I can see. Just this little dog. That poor little dog. It's very sad. Okay, let's go back to the article. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it looks pretty straightforward. Micah's death seems much more interesting. Because why would you divorce someone, which is like the beginning of your new life, and then take your life? That one doesn't make sense. And I think that, of course, because of that, they had to open the other one. To me, the pool death looks like a suicide. He looks like he's bracing himself. I know. Yeah. You don't need to watch it. I told you exactly what happens. He's sitting there and then he rolls in. So, okay. So the Chris Skinner piece to me seems less suspicious, but it's one of those things where like all the little pieces kind of add up. And maybe, I mean, if I'm trying to be in the head of Chris Skinner, who was not just disabled, he was also a veteran, and veterans often have a lot of mental health issues because of what our country puts them through. I can imagine him feeling like he wasn't enough for his wife, right? When he found this out. And just, falling into a really deep spiral about it. Yeah, very, very sad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that one. It is clear there was some inconsistency. Also, it was acknowledged that some of what was said at the scene may be inaccurate, she said without elaborating. There is also new witness testimony contradicting the evidence given by Skinner's wife, Suzie, and others to police at the time. So we don't know what that contradiction was. So Suzie said potentially something that isn't true to the cops, which doesn't look good. I'm sure all of this will be like a Netflix show at some point. Oh, he was only 20 years old. Skinner became a quadriplegic at age 20, a year after he'd been in the army because of a car crash. Not even like military stuff. Jesus. He and Suzie fell in love when she was assigned to him as his physical therapist while he recovered. 2 weeks before Skinner's death, he confronted controversial pastor John Paul Miller, demanding that Miller end his alleged affair with her. So this was 4 years ago, right? So yeah, so 2 weeks after he confronted Miller, he dies. What happened in those 2 weeks would be my question. Like, was he being harassed, taunted, encouraged to end his life? It doesn't seem to be the case. I mean, I imagine they looked through his electronics and stuff. But maybe not. Maybe not. Miller's wife, as we know, discovered dead from a listen, women do not shoot themselves normally. That's not the overwhelming way that women try to die from suicide. So that right there to me is already like, Let me see if there's anything else in here. He's repeatedly denied having an affair with Suzie, and yet they are now married. True, right. Oh God. 15-year-old, called it. Underage girl. Definitely from the church. Suzie admitted to the affair as part of a separate legal case. Okay, so he's lying about having the affair. Susie's admitting it. Miller is facing regarding legal case. Miller's facing regarding allegations he raped a girl 15 in 1998. A crime he strenuously denies. Yeah, I bet. I wonder how old he was in 98. That was almost 30 years ago. So he's probably like early 20s, late teens. Chris Skinner fell out with Miller's church, Solid Rock Ministries, and with Miller himself about 4 to 5 months before his death, after 3 years of attending worship there. So he knew shit was up and then finally confronted him, it sounds like. Chris definitely voiced that he did not like the pastor of that church, and he did stop going to church there. He was in some emotional pain and was having a hard time. He was pulling away and distancing himself. Okay, a lot of this does sound like he was in a state of mind that was not great. I just want to look up this Solid Rock Ministries. I really just want to see their social media. Oh, looks like they took what's his name off the website. Very interesting. If this is the right one. Okay. Chris definitely, all right, we saw that. We saw the emotional pain. At the time of Skinner's death, investigators did not speak to McDermott or his parents. So McDermott is Skinner's sister, despite the fact that they all lived in Myrtle Beach after they were incorrectly told that Skinner had no family in town. Who told them that? Probably Suzie. That might be the discrepancy. They all lived in Myrtle Beach, and someone told the cops, no, he doesn't have family in town. That's crazy. That's crazy. Skinner's case is being reopened as a direct result of his association with Miller due to huge public interest in Micah's death. The exposure has led to a significant number of witnesses coming forward. Chris honestly is one of the most resilient people I've ever known. He's just pushed through everything. Ugh. So the case is still open. Obviously, Solid Rock Ministries did not reply. Who frickin' knows? Yeah, so I think from all that, Micah Miller's death is definitely suspicious. But Chris's, I don't know. I guess we'd have to know more about what was happening in those 2 weeks or those multiple months that he seemed to know about what a dirtbag Miller was. And none of it really bodes well for the fact, or the fact that they got married within a year of Micah dying does not really bode well for their case.